What's up, bleepity bloops?
Oh yeah, you know what? That reminds me of something.
Oh
You
boy.
did that shit last time, right?
Yeah.
But you didn't have the intro in the beginning.
That was on purpose.
Okay, cool.
Just to stick it to you. I kept
I
it real bare
like,
bones.
yeah. He's like, yeah, there's gonna be 8 seconds, and I was like, there was no 8 seconds, bro.
I tried to do this last episode, didn't have a frame. I just threw it up. And I liked it. Kind of dug it. But yeah, I mean,
work. So I'm with it.
Yeah,
That's less work.
I thought it's definitely less work, and I wanted to buy my time because there's a new podcast coming out this week called The Extraordinary Nobodies, which I want everybody to make sure they go check out and subscribe to.
Sponsored by Prevagen.
Yeah. Apparently, I've been fairly forgetful this week, but we're gonna breeze right on through that. How are you gentlemen doing today?
I remember my iPhone passcode all day.
Great. So we know how Ryan's doing. James, how are you?
I don't want to talk about it.
Exactly. So I might be forgetting things, but it seems like everybody's life's just a little bit of hell. All right, so right in the thick of playoff football, but before we go into what happened last week and the mysterious why the fuck did the Giants picked on my goddamn Yahoo after I said a lot that I picked the fucking Eagles, I did want to say get well soon to Chris Baker. A former or a defensive lineman, used to play for Washington, also played for Buffalo. Apparently suffered a major stroke not too long ago. Everybody's so prayers, thoughts, positive energy all sent his way, hoping for a full recovery. Only 35 years old. Hoping that he makes a full-fledged recovery and is better than ever going forward. I know he doesn't play anymore, but it's just
that don't even matter. Yep.
Yeah, just want to keep him healthy. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, there's enough of shit coming out of football you got to worry about. You don't want fucking strokes to add to CTE and all the rest of the shit, right? So,
yeah,
there's that. All right, so divisional round. Super divisional round? No, they don't call it super divisional.
No.
Uber divisional round. No, whatever. All right, so NFL divisional playoff rounds, 4 matchups. I think some of these games kind of went the way that most of us thought they would go. At least no major surprises except for one that we'll break down a little bit. I'm going to save that one for last because one of us really was hoping for a different outcome. But let's start with the the opening game of last weekend, which Jacksonville finally falls to Kansas City in 27-20. Kansas City continues on, but I think the big story coming out of this game is Patty Mahomes and the injury. So during the game, at one point you saw he gets rolled up on high ankle sprain. You see him on the sideline basically telling Andy Reid, don't you dare take me out of this fucking game. They send his ass to the locker room to get checked out anyway. And actually, what's his name? Who was
Henny?
it? Chad Henne?
Yeah.
Did a hell of a job on that drive. It was
He led the longest postseason touchdown drive ever.
It's pretty dope.
But whatever.
But didn't matter because Patrick Mahomes was not going to let anybody steal his fucking thunder like his brother on TikTok. So what do you guys think about the game? Where is it you guys think is Mahomes' injury something to worry about without stepping too much on predictions for what's upcoming? What were your thoughts, takeaways from the game? Ryan, I'll start with you.
One, shout out Doug Peterson for kicking that field goal, knowing you were covering the spread, knowing you had no chance of coming back. Good on you. Secondly, with those high ankle sprains, you always get like a couple hours, right? If you keep moving, it hurts, but you're still able to play on it. You're still able to walk on it. Day 2, day 3, when that shit swells up like a watermelon, it becomes a different story. They have millions of dollars. That's their $500 million guy. I'm sure his leg will look fine. I don't know what he's taken. Fucking, I don't know, South American melting pot, smash all the things together and do a prayer. I'm sure he'll be fine. But if he's not, I mean, they're obviously in trouble because except for that one drive, they couldn't run the ball really for like a hot second there. Because if you're not scared of Mahomes' arm and he can't plant, they're going to try and run the ball and you just stack the box. That being said, it was a much closer game than I thought it was going to be. So shout out to the Jags. The Chiefs did what we thought they were going to do.
James?
We all expected the Chiefs to win, right? But like Ryan said, we didn't think that the Jags would be as close as it was.
Everyone except
And
Ryan because he didn't make his picks.
yeah.
I did on here though.
Yeah, maybe you need to take some of that meds for your
You're gonna add
memory of
that?
putting fucking things in.
Add that to the tally. But yeah, it was good to see Trevor Lawrence I guess like bounce back from like all this shaky shit that's been happening this postseason.
I mean, he still
in regards
threw a pick.
Hmm?
He still threw a pick.
Yeah, it happens. But in terms of the Chiefs, right? And Mahomes' injury, the practice video came out today. Like he was at practice, of course, and they showed him like doing like the little stretches, like where you jog up, you put your hand out and you hit your leg all the way up to your hand, like to stretch out your hamstrings or whatever. And the rest of the team started to do like they would turn to their side and like crab walk over. And I was like, I want to see him do that one because that's where your ankle's going to be fucked up. But nope, his little ass just pranced around and went and jogged all the way back to the other end of the field. So like people are like, oh shit, look, he's practicing. He looks good doing that. I was like, but the exercise that matters, he didn't do. So I'm not 100% sure. Like they put that shit out there just to, get people to feel like, okay, but the main one that he needs to do that he would kind of do in the pocket, they didn't show. So I don't think he's going to be he might be like 80% or 75.
I mean, him at 80% still pretty goddamn good.
Yeah, but the reason why Mahomes is special is because of that, like what he does and when he's like 90% and up. Like he's fucking amazing. Like he can get out of situations, but this weekend I don't think he'll be able to do that.
One-legged Mahomes is still special. But look, when it comes to Mahomes, we'll get into the breakdown as far as the next game. There is no denying the video that came out today was more about satiating media and getting and looking at the other team to get their heads as far as what's happening with Mahomes. But it's not really indicative of where he's at. There's zero chance in hell he's at 100% coming off of that leading into the next game. Everybody knows that. Period. Point blank.
Can we put that in here?
Huh?
Can we put that clip here or no?
No. So beyond that, because it involves work, so I'm not doing it. Beyond that, the big thing to me is that congrats to Jacksonville for getting this far. I thought that they're way ahead of schedule. What I thought, everybody knew that getting rid of Urban Meyer was a great thing, but the fact that Trevor Lawrence played the way he did, the rest of the team kind of stepped up and played, and Doug Peterson did a hell of a job this year getting the team in shape to go. And they're one of the most exciting teams, I think, going into next year and years going forward as Trevor Lawrence starts learning and had a bunch of fucking playoff experience this season. That's dope for where it is they're going as far as longevity, right?
Yeah. And Doug Peterson. sorry, I got scapegoated in Philly, but it's probably better that you're in a different division. So.
And speaking about Philly, they dog walked the shit. Yeah, I'm watching the game. You got to text me. I have it on. I didn't turn the fucking TV off, James. All right, so remember, I'm a Philadelphia guy. Remember, 76ers win the championship. All right, so Philadelphia beat the living shit out of the New York Giants. I think everybody had this sort of feeling. There was this vibe happening. I think it was like the New York fan base, like, man, look at what New York did to Minnesota. Like, New York might be, division round. Like, they and then no. All the fucking no. How good is Philadelphia, James?
They're fucking amazing. I hate it. Like yeah, they have stars at every fucking level. I kind of figured like during the year that it would come down to these two teams, the Eagles and the 49ers. But yeah. This is what happens when you get your QB a star receiver. Like
multiple star receivers.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith
and they have a great D line. They have a great defense. They spent money on corners. They got Bradbury and the dude from the Saints.
Dallas got
like
the offense.
Yeah, they did what they had to do, and they are where they're supposed to be. Like,
so my suggestion to the Giants would be to pay Boston Scott $45 million a year to have him sit on the bench, because all he does is beat up the Giants. He has never not scored against the Giants in a game, and all he does is beat them up. It's like, I don't know what they did to him or which one of the players said what about his mother, but all he does is beat up on them. Saquon looked terrible. Like that was just one of the biggest ass whoopings I have ever seen. And I've seen some bad ones. I saw another one this weekend. It wasn't as bad, but it was pretty bad. But yeah, I would be very shocked if the Niners defense can hold the Eagles to few enough points to give Brock Purdy and CMC a chance. It is going to be, I think if they score more than like 24, it's ball game. But we'll see.
I think the big thing that I noticed in this game was that if you look at like Jalen Hurts, his stat line for the Giants game is more than anything efficient, because he's 16 to 24, only 154 yards, and 2 touchdowns, get sacked once. The running game is what really put this thing away, because they jump out to a giant lead really, really early in the game. After the second quarter, 28-0. The Giants move away from Saquon. His stat line at the end of the game is 6-61 with a 39-yard long run, but they were not going to Saquon the rest of the game. It just wasn't that happening. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, if you look at the Giants receivers, you saw them kind of regress just a bit in this game. Daniel Jones was getting sacked all over the fucking place. 5 sacks by the end of it. But that also comes when he dropped back a lot. But even if you look at the amount of dropbacks overall, it's like 27. It doesn't seem like a lot, but they just couldn't get anything going. There was no sort of rhyme or reason for any of it. And that's the thing with the Giants. If you look at the Giants, I remember they had a stat line at some point in the game. It was like through the first 10 weeks of the season, they couldn't get anything moving as far as offense when it came to the receivers. And they had all these young guys come out of nowhere. You had Richie James come out of nowhere. You had Isaiah Hodgins come out of nowhere. And they were just kind of doing it up. Playoff time comes. You got a bunch of inexperienced guys. They just didn't look good against an actual good team, which Minnesota was not. So it's kind of what it boils down to. But the thing that the Eagles did is after they jumped out to that big lead was letting the Giants know, yeah, we're running the ball, and you're not going to stop us, because Kenneth Gainwell, 12 carries, 112 yards. Miles Sanders, 17 carries, 90 yards. And then your boy Boston Scott, 6 carries, 32 yards, and that tutty. So, look, it was just it was a good old ass whooping, right? Like the score itself did not reflect what it seemed as though Philadelphia could have done to New York if they felt like it. Right, it doesn't feel that way. Once you look at the stat line, you look at Jalen Hurts. There's no one that doesn't think, "Oh, you could have threw for 4 or 5." Like they let go of the accelerator. Just we're good. We're good. We can coast. We can coast through this thing. Yeah. So Philadelphia is a fucking problem, but New York,
I think it's more of an indictment on Minnesota than anything. Like, they are the Pittsburgh Steelers of 2 years ago, where everyone was looking at their record like, no. Like, it's like an elephant on a light pole. I don't know how it got there, but it's not staying up there. And they got wrecked by what we can clearly see is not a very good team. But I think Minnesota should be really looking at making some changes somewhere.
So you would say Minnesota is Michigan and the Giants are TCU.
That is, yes.
Sure. Okay. I will say this. The Ringer, I think I talked about it on this pod. I might talk about it on another pod, but The Ringer did a hell of an article a few weeks ago. And the name of the article is, "There's no doubt the Vikings have been lucky, but have they been good?" And what they did was that they looked through the 11 one-score games that they won by and tried to take a look at, all right, what happened to get them there? Was it miscues from the other team? Were there fumbles that went their way? Was this, that, and the other? And the conclusion was, at the end, I spoiled the whole article, but it's well worth going through. There's a lot of videos and stuff if you get bored through reading.
If you get bored doing this thing we like to call reading, there's these fancy videos to watch.
So I'm just going to read this section of the article because I think it sums up everything you need to know about what it is we just talked about. The general knock on teams with a lot of one-score wins is that if they were actually good, they wouldn't have been put in the close situation needing some big play to pull out a win to begin with. The thing about the Vikings is even if you ignore that criticism, the things they did to win their games once they were in those close situations weren't all that impressive either. If you believe that all of this confirms those allegations are fraudulent, though, then there is one piece of good news for the Vikings. They might have been the luckiest team in the NFL based on fumble recoveries alone, but they're fifth based on total win probability, added based on luck, including fumbles, dropped interceptions, and other factors like opponents missing field goals. The real luckiest team in the league was the Giants.
Yeah, I knew that.
So that's the thing is, like, when you look at it, you had two teams that were kind of coasting on luck and being in certain situations. Not to say that they're not talented, because I think both teams are actually talented, but they were playing they were getting results way above their weight class, right? And they finally came up against a preseason favorite, full-blown rest of the year, dogging motherfuckers, actual football team. And it was like, yeah, okay, this is
We'll
how
go
it's
home.
supposed to go. Yeah.
See you next year.
The thing that was hilarious was watching Giants fans, especially on Twitter, kind of come to the realization real quick. Because they were talking shit all week, right? Oh, man, the Giants are going to go on a run. You remember those Eli runs? And it's like, after the first quarter, it's like, I guess we're not that good. Maybe we retool. But, hey, I give credit to Dable, though. I give credit to Dable. I'm still a Daniel Jones guy. I doubt Saquon's back. I think they got a lot of decisions to make, but I do think they were ahead of schedule this year. So while it hurt them as far as draft stock and where it is they're picking, I still think the Giants team are a feisty bunch. And I think Dable did a hell of a job coaching them. They absolutely ran up against a team that was so clearly more talented than they are.
Where do you think Saquon goes then?
I don't know. I think it gets interesting for both of those guys, right? Because their decisions need to be made on both. I mean, they declined the 5th-year option on Daniel Jones, so that looks like, or if anything, they're going to franchise tag him, right? If they can't get the long-term deal, because I still don't know if you want to do the long-term deal for Daniel Jones. What's up, Ryan?
The Chargers.
For who?
Saquon.
For money. He's out of contract.
Barkley, Eckler, backfield.
Yeah, because do you see remember when Eckler had like 6 carries for like 20 yards because they couldn't get him going? You put a real big back there to get the run game going.
I think that's the offensive coordinator's issue.
Yeah, well, the thing is, you don't have to really scheme Barkley. You go, here's the ball, please go.
There's a dark horse team that I think people need to be paying attention to.
Denver.
And I actually think it's a team that people should be mentioning more about Lamar Jackson. And I think Saquon could end up going there too. And Saquon makes no sense for Washington.
Oh, okay.
The Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons have done a really good job the last few seasons, not overextending themselves as far as what they're paying money-wise. They have like the most cap in the league, right? They have a ton of draft picks. They got rid of Calvin Ridley, which fair enough. Jacksonville, well, we didn't even mention that. Jacksonville gets Calvin Ridley next year.
Yeah.
It's fucking nuts.
Mm-hmm.
But you have guys like Drake London. You have a Kyle Pitts. They have the Desmond Ridder thing, which nobody knows how that's really going to pan out. But you had Marcus Mariota, sort of the bridge quarterback guy. They've spent a lot of draft picks on the trenches as far as the offensive line and stuff, right?
Patterson.
That to me seems like one of those teams where they're in this sort of territory where somebody could look at them and say, the O-line might be turning that corner where they're looking pretty good. They got a lot of fucking draft stock. I know if you're an Atlanta fan, the last time you got you had Matt Ryan, but nobody really appreciated him. You get excited about seeing somebody mobile like a Mike Vick in that fucking jersey. Lamar would be absolutely loved in Atlanta. A Saquon Lamar backfield with Drake London and Kyle Pitts, and they could actually afford all of it.
And Cordarrelle Patterson kind of acts as like the hybrid running back, wide receiver kind of guy.
Be your Debo Samuel type, right? So that, I think Atlanta.
Who's that coach?
Isn't that it's not Smith, right?
Arthur Smith?
No, not Arthur Smith.
Oh.
They pick up Dennis Smith?
Arthur Smith.
Is it Arthur Smith?
Yeah.
Because he was with the Titans beforehand, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
He was in Tennessee beforehand. I don't know. I think it could be interesting. I just think Atlanta's they've kind of sucked recently after the end of the Matt Ryan era, and basically after 28-3, it's been sort of rebuild mode. But they're in a prime position to spend some cash. And Arthur Blank, the owner, he ain't a dude afraid to do shit. I give him that. So I don't know. I would just say Atlanta to me is like the scary dark horse team that could be doing some really crazy shit. All right. Next matchup, because we're going to save the Bills for last. Dallas, San Francisco. This is probably the game of the week. Game of the week? It was game of the weekend?
Probably.
Yeah, I mean, look, we had the Dallas Cowboys, their vaunted pass rush, Trayvon Diggs, Dak Prescott. Is it time for Dacky? And then you had San Francisco, which everybody knows is a great team, but they've got Mr. Irrelevant starting at quarterback as far as Brock Purdy in his first, not first NFL playoffs, but in the NFL playoffs. The game ended phenomenally. I appreciate it as a Washington fan. I just wait for Dallas to do Dallas type shit. But that alone to me was just worth the entire weekend of losing all my money in sports bets. But James, start with you. The San Francisco, Dallas. Let's start with Dallas. What's next?
Well, did you guys see what the Dallas Cowboys admin on Twitter did?
Yep.
It was amazing.
It was stupid.
It was amazing
because you're a Commanders fan. Yeah.
Oh, if you're a Dallas fan, I'm saying that was stupid. If you're me, who's not, it was amazing. Right. It was everything.
It's one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Dysfunctional franchise.
Yeah, well, you know who signed off on that.
Yeah. Still one of the dumbest things I've ever seen.
Jerry.
Like at this, like what is the point of that? That makes no sense whatsoever. It was not necessary, and all it did was hurt your team.
Well, not until next season because they ain't playing no more this season.
Yeah, time to not think about it.
Oh yeah, we got all this time in the world to hear all this shit about like what are the Cowboys going to do with Dak now? Like you created unnecessary questions.
I know what his girlfriend did. Left him. Just saying.
Or he could have left her.
It seems unlikely. He was already hurting. She just kicked him while he was
hurt people.
And hey, Dak's not going anywhere. They just signed him that deal. Nobody's taking that deal. Nobody's taking that deal off their hands.
Look, fam, you said that John Wall and Westbrook couldn't be traded, and they got traded.
If you want to compare trades in the NBA to trades in the NFL, we can be here all fucking day about how nonsensical it is to do so.
Listen, I miss you guys, so let's do it.
No, we're good. I'm good off that.
All right. But yeah, like you said, Cowboys doing cowboy type things. Like that's just stupid. That was just dumb. Like to add fuel like to your own fire, like the fucking idiots.
Burn it down.
Yeah, but let me ask you this: was the admin wrong?
But at the same time, you just don't say it.
Well, he wrote what we all just saw. We saw it.
But you don't say
saw
it.
Him, right. But if you don't say it, are you just hiding from the truth? Like all he wrote was not a knock on anybody. He wrote verbatim.
Here's factually what happened.
Saw with our eyeballs. Like he was like the play-by-play announcer, except that it was just that one play.
Let me ask you this question: he say any of this shit about Zeke the whole year? About how he wasn't performing?
Zeke's actually, I thought, performing better than expected this year.
Well, except for in this game where he had 10 carries for like 20 yards. But you know, it is what it is. Sometimes you just go up against a team that's better, which is a lot of the time with the Dallas Cowboys.
But typically, you don't put the highest paid player on your team and just throw him under the bus.
Who, if not Dak, needs to take for some responsibility?
Jerry.
That's the highest paid player. No, Jerry's not paid.
Jerry signed that deal.
Jerry pays. So look, I hope it's dysfunctional forever.
But yeah, like I don't want to spend too much time on the Cowboys just because like fuck them. Really?
Yeah, but this is why to spend time on those.
Shout out Brock Purdy.
Fuck you energy.
Still no turnovers and out efficiency'd Dak Prescott. So
I'm just saying this as far as the Cowboys, then we'll move on to San Francisco. Well, no, we're going to skip San Francisco and just talk about them in the upcoming game.
Yeah.
But then we'll go to the last matchup.
Okay.
Like, Dak's stat line at the end of the game was absolute shit. He played like shit. I know you look at the Cowboys, and I think everybody's expecting to, all right, this will be our opportunity to blame Mike McCarthy for what just happened, or blame Kellen Moore for what just happened, or blame Ezekiel Elliott for what just happened. It was Dak. Like, it was clearly Dak. And the thing is that you look at over the course of the season, he missed how many games but still leading the league in interceptions. So it's like, if you're looking at that more than anything, I think it's the grand indictment on Dak is clearly not as good as like what we thought he might be at like the beginning of last season, right? What's up?
Those interceptions, right?
Yes.
I've heard a lot of people like refute some of that part, just the fact that like most of those interceptions were off the receiver's hands, like dropped, like, or if it was batted in the air at the line or some shit. Like, so a lot of those were bad luck, apparently. But at the end of the day, like, it's still, I don't want it to be where all the blame is just put on Dak when there's so much other shit that's fucked up too.
Why?
Like, McCarthy's not a good coach.
No, but Dak's not.
Jerry got him there just because he can control him.
Dak is not the quarterback that everyone who's a Dallas fan thinks he is.
Yeah, I just think
fuck all that. I get you. Like, the Dallas Cowboys hype up whoever else every year. Like, so I get where all this shit is coming from. But in terms of the actual game, like, it's not just Dak. Like, they were actually playing against the 49ers, who's a really good fucking team. That's right, one.
But Dak makes those mistakes against Washington.
Yeah, the thing is, you're not blaming the receivers for the interceptions in that game. That was on Dak. So I'm saying is that when the game is on the line right there, and I'm looking for who's most responsible here in this room for us not advancing till next week, I look at Dak. And that's like, I look at Dak more than I look at anybody else. If you want to look at, all right, why is the rushing attack not the way it should be? Why is Ezekiel Elliott still getting more carries than Tony Pollard when he's clearly not better than Tony Pollard? Then you look up in the booth and you say, Jerry, I understand you paid one guy more money than the other, so you want to see one guy play more than the other, but it doesn't work out that way. Now, even Zeke had double-digit touchdowns, like 800 yards in the season, but he's averaging under 4 yards a carry. As you said, not a great season for him, right? Where you have Tony Pollard averaging 5.2. But we also said Tony Pollard's been the better back for the last 3 years now, so it's not a surprise to fucking anybody. The Cowboys are who the Cowboys are, but we also look at a defense that's also done phenomenal things when it looks to Micah Parsons and Trayvon Diggs doing a better job as far as not being as risky as he was the last couple seasons. So they took some steps.
They held that team to 19 points?
Right. That's the other thing. You look at that defense and you look at what it is that did San Francisco, who we know San Francisco has a lot of fucking weapons. You hold them under 20. So if I'm looking across anyone, the person that does get the most, because that's the thing, you look at it, other than Brett Maher, you look at Dak Prescott and say...
And Mike McCarthy.
I don't look at Mike McCarthy because I think Mike McCarthy did a good job this game. I don't look at it as far as...
All right, you remember the possession where it was like before the 2-minute warning? That motherfucker wasted like 30, 45 seconds for no reason to get a fucking punt out there. Like, and they would have had a lot of time at the end of the game to go down the field rather than just rushing. And then have that stupid ass play to end the game. Like, that's dumb.
Well,
that stupid play was the cherry.
Yeah, it was amazing. I don't know what you're talking about. It was amazingly shot up.
Look, I get it. You're Commanders fans. I get it.
That's not the point of this.
It's lovely to see.
No. It's not. Well, more than anything, the reason they're America's team is that America comes together to watch them lose, which is great. Now, beyond that, but the thing is that, like, I get you kind of, you're semi-capping for Dak because you want other people to get blamed.
I'm not capping for Dak. Look, if you fuck up, you fuck up. Like, it is what it is. But they're not going to get better just trying to like blame one person and then like forget about all the other shit.
Some guys actually do well. I look at I'll give it an example. Washington's defense linebacker, Jamin Davis, played like shit until early in the season. Jack Del Rio threw him the fuck under the bus. And there are some guys, when you get that, they curl up underneath. They're like, I don't like this disrespect. You know what Davis did? He stepped the fuck up and actually played his best season to the point in which I look at linebacker and I say, while I wouldn't mind another name in the room, I kind of like the development I'm seeing with Davis. So like that it happens for some guys. It doesn't happen for others. But I think what you're seeing right now is that we paid you the money we paid you. We look at you as far as even if you look at last season, 37 touchdowns, I think like 10 interceptions. And that's under a Mike McCarthy scheme fucking offense. I look at that and I say, all right, it's not Dak's fault you got rid of Amari Cooper because you can't afford him because you paid Dak and you paid Ezekiel Elliott unnecessarily. But it is what it is. And if I look at Dak, I'm saying you need to protect the football more if you know you don't have the weapons that way. And he did a shit job of that. That's it. Bottom line. That's all.
That's 100% fair. All right, right. The only issue I ever have in regards to conversations like these is only the fact that when this is discussed, not necessarily just here, but like anywhere I hear, because they talk about the Cowboys everywhere, and I don't like it. I don't want to hear about them 24/7. But when they do talk about them, the focus is Dak.
Yes.
Right? Only.
He's the quarterback.
I know, but
That's
only.
quarterback.
But that's not.
It's not all, but that's the thing. I don't think it's only. Most of the time that we're having the conversation because of this game.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the conversation because he was leading the league in interceptions after missing a bunch of games.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two things that you squarely look at Dak. We can still, we've criticized Mike McCarthy for years about the Zeke to Pollard thing. We've all talked about that. Everybody in media has talked about that, right? We've all talked about going into the season that Jerry Jones is responsible for them not being able to afford Amari Cooper. And it was a big loss, right? I'm just saying, if you listen, we have been criticizing everyone. But that is a game in which you look at this and you say, Dak, what the fuck? And then what you also remember is the end of their playoff run last year with that sloppy fucking, oh, I forgot, I'm not supposed to give the ref the ball, then I'm supposed to give this guy the ball, and they ran out of fucking time. It looked very similar to that shit. And that's not something. And if you don't have timeouts or you don't have, then that's up to Dak to know about the situation at hand. It's up to Dalton Schultz to know, hey guys, I need to make sure that I'm going forward before I got a bounce. It's just lazy shit. Down. Right. Yeah. It's just lazy
the fact
shit.
That, we got 3 timeouts. Let's call a timeout before we punt the ball so we can save 50 seconds.
And the reason I think Dak gets more heat in this game in particular is because the week before he was perfect. Right? 4 tugs, 300 plus yards, beating Brady. And then he goes in and those mistakes that he made the week prior against Washington start to creep back in.
And he got all the praise that week.
All right, let me ask you guys this question.
Also, it's so bad that Tony Pollard broke his own leg, so he never has to play for Dallas again. And I don't blame him for a second.
I wish him for a speedy recovery.
All right, can we move away from this?
Yeah.
No, I have a question.
I thought you said you don't want to talk about the Cowboys.
I said I have a question for you guys.
I got.
So, you're the GM of the Cowboys now.
I killed myself.
Don't say that.
Okay.
Cool. So, you're the GM of the Cowboys now.
I kill everyone else. No.
Are you done? You good?
I'm sorry.
Okay. You're the GM of the Cowboys now.
Can I say a suicide bombing joke? No, sorry.
Jesus.
I just want to do both.
You are now the GM of the Cowboys. What do you do to fix the team?
Nothing. There's nothing you can do.
Can you get rid of Dak? Can you get rid of McCarthy? What do you do?
You're handcuffed. You've handcuffed yourself, or the team has handcuffed itself.
So you're just
no money, no picks.
You're complacent on just being bad now?
Well, nobody's going to take that contract, so you don't have a choice unless they allow you to spend hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars over the cap.
We got Ryan's idea. He's just going to do nothing. K-Dot, what about you?
I'm going to sex traffic minors to get Jerry in trouble, and then our problems will be over.
They've literally handcuffed.
All right, let's go to the next one because you guys can't be serious for shit right now.
Well, no, they don't have.
There's no choice. There's no options here.
Pieces to move.
You can't trade Dak. You can't trade. Like, what are you going to trade Dak? Who wants that contract? Ezekiel Elliott. Who the fuck wants that contract? Like, it's so. If I'm Dallas at this point, what I'm doing is every year I'm going back in. I got a good enough defense. And look at where we are, and I'm hoping that we do better, and that's all I can do. I'm hoping that we hit on some of the draft picks. That's it. I'm kind of stuck because of decisions I made. That's what I think. Like, Dallas is just going to run it back.
Or
in less shape than they were the year before.
they're just going to get
What's
worse.
Dak's contract?
70, something stupid.
Let's pull it up. And then we have to stop talking about these goddamn eliminated ass Cowboys. So it was a 4-year, $160 million contract.
Okay.
126 guaranteed.
$126 million guaranteed.
So it's 4 years.
The
How
cap hit.
How much?
4 years, 160. The cap
Okay.
hit this year is $49 million. The dead cap hit is $89 million.
Okay.
You have a potential out in 2024.
Okay, so next year.
Right.
Okay.
That's it. That's what we're saying. You have to run it back.
But
There's no other choices there.
Also, it's a potential out where if he has a bad season next year, he ain't going nowhere.
You can cut him.
No, that's the potential. I mean, you can
Right.
Not,
What you didn't hear was
but the dead cap is 39.
126 million guaranteed. That
The-
cap hit
Jerry's
would
the
be,
billionaire.
You
That
have to
cap
eat
hit-
the $39 million cap hit.
Yeah, and
would
Jerry
be-
can do it.
it would be devastating.
Jerry's not Mark Davis. He can do it.
Yeah.
He's 90. He
When
might be
midway
dead.
through next season they're starting Cooper Rush, we'll revisit this. All right. So last game,
Ugh.
the Cincinnati
Yeah.
Bengals go to Buffalo in the snow. That lakeside.
I miss most of this.
First of all, it snows in Cincinnati.
I miss most of
Not
this
as much as
game,
Buffalo.
which
Maybe
is
this
hilarious.
year.
I missed most of this game, and when I came back, I was like, "Ain't no way."
So the Cincinnati Bengals beat the Buffalo Bills 27-10 in the frozen tundra of Buffalo.
In the snow.
In the snow. So Ryan, well, no, admit you're a Commanders fan now. Like, what's up with your Buffalo Bills, man? What happened?
Well, that vaunted defense schemed like ass. They just kept playing nickel, and then Joe Mixon would be like, I'll just go for 10. And then they would man cover and lose coverage, and they'd let Hayden Hurst, Jordan Poyer stepping towards the line and just letting Hayden Hurst just waddle by him because that dude runs like 4 miles per year. And look, Josh doesn't look healthy. Since that Miami game earlier this season, the heat stroke game, Josh Allen just hasn't looked like himself. Stephon Diggs couldn't get open. When he was open, Josh couldn't get on the ball. And we just got our ass beat. There's no real excuse. I think Leslie Frazier is done.
A week before they were talking about him as a head coach.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm sure he's probably better than many head coaches in the league, but it's just that defensive scheme didn't work. We couldn't get a run going at all, which is weird because James Cook can fucking run the ball and Devin Singletary can fucking run the ball, and we just couldn't get it going. And I knew about halfway through the second quarter, I was like, this isn't going to come together, is it? So I lit my Trinity candles, and it didn't get better. So, look, there's got to be some movements and some shakings this offseason. I think Jordan Poyer's probably gone, so we're going to have to fill that position. Our offense is coming back pretty much in its entirety. So that's good, but yeah, this is it's the life of any of Ryan's sports teams. Just keep giving me hope and then crush it.
Sorry
always-
to hear that, bro.
There's always next year.
Oh no,
That's-
don't do that.
That's my favorite saying.
That's something I do want to talk about next year. So if you look at the Buffalo Bills, most teams try to ascend, right? So what you guys did was 2 years ago, you lose in the AFC Championship game. The year before that, you lose in the AFC Divisional Round on the road.
Why
Now
you
you
doing
lose at home. Can you lose
Why
the
you
wild
doing
card?
no.
If you lose in the
Why are you
wild
trying to
card,
crush this man?
because it's crushable. I like the Buffalo Bills were the preseason favorite. It pissed me off. It actually made me angry, right? Like they keep talking about Buffalo Like, Buffalo's the sexy pick at the beginning of the season, and then they just get fucking ousted by the Cincinnati Bengals, who retool on the offensive line. It looks so clearly like the better fucking team out of nowhere. And it's like they keep going to Josh Allen, who Josh Allen is a less athletic Cam Newton, who's getting beat up. It's not going to get better for him if he doesn't fucking stop doing what he's doing. He's also the best runner on the team, or at least most effective runner on the fucking team, which is a problem. And they've never had a sustained running game behind some. And you look at the averaging, what they're at. Devin Singletary averaged 4.6 yards a carry this year.
Well, we don't have an offensive line right now. So.
James Cook, 5.7 yards a carry this year, right? But neither, 819 yards for Singletary, 507 yards. They both played 16 games. It's a weird split that you got Josh Allen constantly playing hero ball where he doesn't need to play hero ball because they have a solid enough fucking team that you can just play within the scheme of the fucking system. And he doesn't fucking do that shit because he always wants to do more than he's necessary to do.
Well, he's under pressure. He was under pressure that entire game. So he doesn't really have a choice a lot of the time. A lot of the hero ball is, I've dropped back, I've counted to 1, and there is a dude in my face.
But the thing of it is, even those times where he has 2 seconds back there, when he's looking for that home run fucking ball, where he could just take Dawson Knox, take this guy in the flat, make the completion right here.
Oh, yeah, no. He needs
live to another fucking down. He doesn't.
Look, he's
like the worst trace of Ben Roethlisberger and the worst trace of Cam Newton. Like, what are you doing?
He'll be all right.
And he's talented. He's sort of right. Like, I don't think he has the same running talent that Cam Newton does, but he's talented as shit. If you talk about like an arsenal, a tool, like a tool belt of weapon, I'd be hard pressed to say you do, other than Patrick Mahomes, who's just like a special breed outside of this, right? Is there a player with a better arsenal of weapons within himself than Josh Allen in the league?
No. Maybe Joe Burrow, but Joe Burrow doesn't have the same running skills. So,
right.
So I look at Josh Allen, I'm just like, look, man, it's about to be a fucking disappointment. Herbert also has a offensive scheme that is fucking dumb as shit.
Yeah, I mean,
there's no way getting around that.
They're gonna have to make some significant.
I hope it stays.
Changes. I mean, but if you look what they did last year, the QB coach became the coach. They switched offensive coordinators, and the defense stayed the same, and everything regressed. Right. So maybe the moves that they made were not the right moves.
Maybe.
What they need to do is retool the coaching because they have the pieces in place. They also need to draft offensive linemen, but luckily you can get good O-line at the end of the first round in the second round. But man, I have a sneaking suspicion that there will be a new offensive coordinator and a new defensive coordinator in there because the window, the window was opening and now it is closing because it's cold in Buffalo. Yeah, it's very disappointing, obviously. So I've never wanted anybody to get injured on the field of play more than I want Eli Apple to get stomped on. Or I hope he gives up 390 yards. And
he'd probably do that.
Cancun on 3.
Yo, the O-line was tweeting. It was like, bro, you can get beat up for real.
Oh, Shaq Lawson, I saw that.
You can watch your fucking mouth.
God damn.
I mean, also, Eli Apple's essentially like Patrick Beverly, but just less talent.
His last name is Apple. I'd never be scared of someone with the last name Apple. What a bitch.
Yeah, thrown out of fucking New York, and they needed all the bodies they could have.
And then he went to New Orleans. And then I thought he was about to sign with us, but then we spoke to his mom and said, "Fuck that."
Yeah, Eli Apple, he's crazy. He's batshit crazy. But the same way we say Cowboys did Cowboy shit in the playoffs, the Bills are doing historically Bills things.
Hey, no. Shit. Wait till we make it to the Super Bowl 4 straight times.
Oh.
Now that's peak Bills. Y'all ain't gonna reach peak Bills.
Did who posted that Patrick Mahomes OJ Simpson thing in the chat? Was that you, Ryan?
I don't even know what you're talking about.
All right, so Patrick Mahomes' wife was like talking a bunch of she was talking a bunch of shit to whoever they played.
Oh, the Jags.
Yeah, like suck it, Jags or whatever. And then Mahomes was like, "Hey, calm it down a little bit."
Oh, and
OJ responded, was like, "Hey, I have some ideas that can help you relieve like stress that I've used from time to time." And I was like,
just
a
couple of life hacks.
I was like, "Oh hell no!"
Yeah,
That's nuts. Hey, that would scare the shit out of me.
What, OJ?
Yeah,
I'd saying something like that.
I would have a beer with OJ so goddamn fast.
Me too.
Look,
I would not.
I would just say this, and then we're moving on to the picks. When it comes to the Bills and what it is they're doing, I don't know if Stephon Diggs wants to come back at this point because there's some weird shit happening there. It's feeling very like the end of his Minnesota run when it came to him and Kirk Cousins and all that shit. I just think you get to a point where you're just like, when you saw Josh Allen's face on the sideline when Stephon Diggs is doing the thing, you just sort of like, I like you. I don't want this energy right now. Just go somewhere else.
No, that happens though. Like that's fine.
It did
that's
in
like
Minnesota with Stephon Diggs and the end of Buffalo.
There's a difference between Kirk Cousins and Josh Allen though. Like you got the sense that
yeah, not in that game. A 1 week difference? Is that the major difference between the two?
Look, man, you can win with Josh Allen. I don't think you can win.
Well, with you say that, right? But what I'm saying is that if Josh Allen plays the same way he's doing, he's not going to be as healthy as he is, right?
True.
And what I'm also saying is you're looking at an AFC playoff picture that's going to have Joe Burrow, Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert, a rising Trevor Lawrence. Aaron Rodgers might be on his way to the AFC. Lord knows with a New York Jets defense. It's not going to get any easier for you, Josh Allen. Like that window that Ryan was talking about, you leave that bitch open in Buffalo. Guess what? Your pipe freeze. So the some bitch ain't working too well for them right now. Okay.
When does he get paid?
When does Josh get paid?
Yeah,
I thought they paid. Didn't they pay him? Or is he? Yeah, they paid him.
Oh. Okay.
Just saying, it's not going to get easier.
3 out of the 4 QBs that are still left are on their rookie deals. Besides Mahomes, because Mahomes. So,
matchups. We're going to go in order. I want your pick and why. Sunday, 3:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The San Francisco 49ers come across the United States of America to go play at Lincoln Financial, Philadelphia. Who you got and why, Ryan?
All right. I'm going to take it hurts. The Philadelphia Eagles. I believe that offense is going to be too potent for that defense. I'm not discounting how good San Francisco's defense is. I just think the Eagles offense is better. They have had to play it safe with Brock Purdy. And I don't think they're going to be able to. I think the Eagles are going to score too much, and they're going to have to unleash Mr. Irrelevant. And I just think that the Eagles are simply going to score more points. That is it. I think their offense is too good. Their defense is better than any defense that the Niners have played. I think Purdy might end up with his first turnover. I just think the Eagles are going to be too much for the Niners. And that's it. They're just an all-around better team. I think it starts with the quarterback, though. So Jalen Hurts is just playing out of his fucking mind.
I think it's the exact opposite. I think we're discounting the 49ers defense just a little bit here, just based on the last game. They were like number 1 in the league for the whole year in everything. And the fact that, it's like, yeah, they got a Bosa brother. And then you look at their defensive line, it's disgusting. Their secondary is nice. They have the best linebacker in the league. Like they have everything you would need. They have the best left tackle in the league. They have a top 5 running back. They have basically the second best tight end. They have Deebo Samuel. Kittle. Kittle's not better than Kelsey.
No, I heard it. So I was thinking you talking about Goddard. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
No. But they have all these pieces, and they also have this guy named Kyle Shanahan. And don't do that. All right, we'll see. But
Kyle hasn't won anything yet. I'll give him that. He ends right here sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes, but other times you'll get the next step. So
I don't know, man. It's gonna be rough for him.
Okay. But all I'm saying is I think that the 49ers are they're gonna prove a point. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, my point.
No, not that one.
All right, I am going with the 49ers. And the reason I'm going with the 49ers is not because I don't think Philadelphia could absolutely win this game. I think Philadelphia, if they get things going right, could win this game running away from it, right? Well, not running away from it, because I do think San Francisco's defense is too entirely good to let Philadelphia just run wild over them, right?
They can't run the ball.
They ran it pretty well last week.
No, I'm saying they won't run the ball.
It won't be it. It'll be Jalen Hurts this thing. But the thing that I think that we need to now, Brian, you talked a lot about Brock Purdy. But the point that I think is that the game against Dallas was arguably Brock Purdy's worst game. Like you look at the sacks, he didn't throw a pick, but that's also Brock Purdy's been really good as far as protecting the football. He has thrown picks this year, but it's not necessarily the other one. But he hasn't looked. He's been doing a good job as far as taking care of the football. Now the thing with San Francisco is that they are so good that even when Brock Purdy doesn't have a good game, they could still come out victorious against anybody, really. And what I don't expect is the reason I give Kyle Shanahan credit is not because I do think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL. He's probably the coach that has the most upside in the NFL. That being said, what I give Kyle Shanahan credit for is that I doubt I'll see a performance from Brock Purdy as bad as the one I saw in the Dallas game this week. I doubt he has back-to-back bad games with Kyle Shanahan coaching him. That's the only thing that I'm looking at when it comes to that. The rest of that team is filthy. Kittle, Debo, Ayuk, McCaffrey, Elijah Mitchell when he's actually fucking doing shit because he's been looking kind of pedestrian recently. And that offensive line. Oh, my God, that offensive line. Then you look at the defensive line. Holy shit. You look at Fred Warner. Motherfucker could be anywhere on the field at any given point in time.
That's American football.
I just look at that San Francisco team and I'm just like, I think they are from top to bottom the best team in the NFL, and that's where I'm going with. But once again, NFL playoffs, Philadelphia's playing at home. There is something about flying across the country. There is something about being a rookie quarterback. There's a lot of those things that could go that way. People should not be overlooking Philadelphia at fucking all. Mm-hmm. But it should be a hell of a matchup. I can't fucking wait for it. All right, next up, we'll start with James because he's get to discuss his favorite team in the NFL. The Cincinnati Bengals versus James's favorite, the Kansas City Chiefs.
In what world?
Not this
world. You're just denying yourself your true love. You'd be so much happier if you knew and accepted that you're just a Chiefs fan at heart. Who you got and why?
I have the Bengals. Here's why. Mahomes is not himself. And who else on that team scares you besides Kelsey and Mahomes?
I like Pacheco.
That dude runs angry.
He's real angry. I like him. Mm-hmm. I'm liking him every week more and more, just a little more and more.
I don't see him doing that much. They stacked the box. Mahomes can't move the way he needs to move. The two DNs from the Bengals are going to tee off. And if Mahomes isn't himself, like, it's not even a question. It'll look worse than the Bills game. So I hate to say it because I mean, at this point in time, I don't like Eli Apple, but I also don't like the Chiefs either. So I'm not going to be happy either way. Because if they win, I gotta look at Eli Apple tweeting like he's the best player on the team, and then if they lose, it's fucking Kansas City. So either way, I'm screwed.
Ryan,
yeah, Bengals. I don't think Mahomes is going to be 100%. I think they kind of got away with it last week. I don't think they're going to be able to get away with it this week if he's not 100%. I think we know their defense isn't great. And Joe Burrow is, if he's on his game, is going to outplay them. I think it'll be close. I think you will see an excellent tight end matchup with Hayden Hurst versus the best tight end in history. I just don't think if he's not 100% and can't do the things that he can do usually at 100%, the get out of the pocket, sidearm, ridiculous. I'm gonna fake run to the end zone and then kind of shovel pass it for a touchdown. If they're not scared of his feet, people are gonna stay home, and it could be a lot harder for him to do those things that make them successful. So I'm going Bengals. But Eli Apple gives up 140 yards, touchdown, and then trips on a sideline reporter and sprains his ankle.
But guess what? He's still gonna be tweeting, smoking cigars in the locker room.
Well, I hope he breaks both hands when he.
I don't wish any injury on anybody.
Ankle.
But the Bengals also have the Chiefs number too, by the way.
So I am picking the Kansas City Chiefs. And the reason I'm picking the Kansas City Chiefs is because of everything that's been happening in the media recently as far as the fall. Like, Joe Burrow is probably the most likable guy in the NFL. If you don't like Joe Burrow, I don't like you. Like, yeah, I think you're untrustworthy. Like, it's just one of those things where if you don't like Joe Burrow, you don't pass the sniff test. Something's wrong with you. Like, you just a hating ass motherfucker.
Don't trust you, I'm gonna shoot you.
Low bet. Hey, you told me I can't talk about like shooting people and killing myself, whatever. But so look,
and here you go, bringing it up again. God.
You said it.
I didn't.
You did.
I didn't say nothing about yourself, sir. Sir.
Oh, he said Young Metro.
Yeah,
that's true.
See?
That's true.
You know, he said if Young Metro don't trust you, you going to shoot. He said you.
But he said if you. But he trusts you though.
I'm saying I don't trust people that don't trust Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
So look, the whole thing. Joe Burrow is 3-0 in Kansas City.
Mm-hmm.
Cincinnati's damn good. Burrow, and have you heard what they're doing for Burrow or what Burrow does when he goes up to the line?
What do you mean?
It's Peyton Manning like. This is starting to, there's a Joe Burrow narrative that's starting to occur where it's not just he's the Joe Cool. It's that he's running the offense like Peyton Manning used to. Mm-hmm. So what the word is that they're giving him 3 plays to go to the line, and he's making the decision on which play is going to be called. And it happens every fucking now. And when you see that and what Burrow's able to do when it comes to utilizing Jamar Chase and utilizing Hayden Hurst and utilizing these guys is getting more impressive. Like, it's fucking cool as shit to see.
Wait,
and I think
Joe Cool?
I don't like reusing someone else's nickname. Does that bother anybody?
Nope. Love it.
No, I get you.
Yeah, it's Joe Montana's Joe Cool. I don't get, you don't have to do that. Like, plus he had like the t-shirts and had Snoopy and everything on. That's not good. All right, look, the Cincinnati is awesome, but I think that what we're seeing right now, I think Kansas City wants to get these demons off. Which is, you look at what happened last year. You look at what happened even earlier this year. Kansas City, I think, beat them 27-24, something like that. It was a pretty close game. I just think Andy Reid, those guys come prepared. And I still think, even injured, Patrick Mahomes is the best player in the NFL. And like I feel like I'm having to convince myself of this a bit.
Yeah,
to be really honest. There's a part of me that just thinks Mahomes, this whole season for Kansas City has been, they're the number 1 offense in the NFL, regardless of who it is you can name it, their wide receivers, and Travis Kelce being there. Their defense is higher ranked than Cincinnati's defense is by the end of the season in both points scored and yardage. I just look at these guys and I see like an Isaiah Pacheco who can run the damn ball. I know that Nixon has had some nice moments, but overall, if I'm looking at the season from Nixon, it's been a sort of a mess. I think majority of the stuff that they've been doing is relying on Joe Burrow throwing the football and doing. And I just think that they've kind of been on this hot run. But if you look at the teams they played since that Kansas City game early in the season, ain't really anybody too huge. You beat Tennessee. Hold on, let me pull this up. So the Chiefs, since that Kansas City game,
The Bengals.
the Bengals, since that Kansas City games, Browns, Bucks, Pats, the Bills game, we know they got canceled. The Ravens twice without Lamar Jackson. And then you got whatever the fucking Bills tried to do last week. And even if you look at that Bills game, it was sort of what was happening before DeMar Hamlin went down?
Yeah.
They were fucking driving on him, right? So, like, the Buffalo Bills, if we really want to be honest about them, they haven't looked good in a minute, right? So when I'm looking at those things, I look at the Bengals right now as being that sexy pick. And they're really popular, and I think everybody looks at it, and they're looking at Mahomes being injured, and I just think this is one of those games where you can't sleep on the best, and Mahomes is the best.
He's not the best if he's not 90%.
I still think that even at 80, 70%, I'd pick Mahomes on anybody else in the league.
No.
I think he's that special, but I told you that I don't think we've seen close to the ceiling for Mahomes. I don't.
Like, I get
it's the same way I feel about Michael Parsons.
I get what you're saying in regards to like Mahomes being special, right? We all agree there, right? That's not a debate. It's more so when he's hurt and he can't do the things that make him special, he's no longer special.
The ceiling is the floor.
Okay, that's fair enough, but they did Jacksonville looks spicy, and they took care of business, and I look at that and I'm like, and the one guy I keep going back to, the same guy that Ryan mentioned earlier, I like that Pacheco kid. I really, 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 really like that Pacheco kid. And if I'm looking at his average the last few games, against Jacksonville, 7.9 yards a carry. Against Vegas, 8 yards a carry.
Mm-hmm.
I like him. I think he's getting better.
How many yards do you think he'll get this game per carry?
4.
Against the Bengals?
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll put 5.2.
Okay.
Yeah.
I say a hearty 5.2 yards a carry.
Watch, he's gonna get 5.4, but like have 3 carries.
Yeah.
It might be because
I think it's gonna be more.
Because if they're down by 21, they ain't gonna run the ball.
But Cincinnati's defense, 23rd ranked against the pass, 7th ranked against the run. There's discrepancy there.
But if Mahomes is injured, he's not going to be able to throw as much. So.
As long as he can get the ball in Kelsey's hand. Night. All right, guys.
You can't do it.
He can still throw the ball. He's just not as mobile as him.
That's what makes him special to me.
I know, to you, but you're also biased as shit. You hate the Chiefs. All right, let's go. Final thoughts. Final thoughts. Who would like to go first?
I'll go first.
You go ahead, sir.
Arsenal's at the top of the league. And historically, what will happen is by the end of the season, we will be 4th. But I'm holding out hope that one of my teams, just one time, won't fuck me. They did beat Man U at the death this past weekend. And now we're starting to get the transfers who usually would go to the Chelseas and the Man Cities and the Liverpools. They're starting to look at Arsenal as a possible landing spot, which is nice. It's the first time in a long time. It's kind of like when the Mets got a new owner and just started buying people. It's
Still don't
When
win.
they did a return.
It's a nice change. Yet no returns as of late. The Bills, my most recent disappointment. So check back with me in like mid-April. See how we're doing. See how we're doing.
All right. I'll go.
Okay.
Quick. It's my Raiders shopping list for the summer or whatever. Jalen Ramsey can possibly be traded. That will be lovely. Tom Brady, bring your ass here. CJ Stroud at number 7, or we move up. Have CJ Stroud sit behind Brady for a year. Boom. Nice. Offensive line, please. Need that. Defensive line, please. need that. Rest of the team.
So a whole new team.
Come on. Yeah. Mhm.
Got it. Cool.
Yep. We need everybody. Everybody, look, they see Brady. They're like, oh, I want to go play with Brady. Come on over. If you good, come on over. Like, we'll take them all.
I like
Almost
that.
all. No Eli Apple. Stay the fuck where you are.
All right. The Oscar nominations have been released, or they got released on Monday, and Best Picture has been very, very interesting. I actually think I'm going to run through the list who got nominated.
Mhm.
All Quiet on the Western Front. I'm not going to ask James if you've heard about these movies.
It was so good.
Yeah. Avatar: The Way of Water, The Banshees of Inisherin, Elvis, Everything Everywhere All at Once, The Fablemans, Tar, Top Gun Maverick, Triangle of Sadness, Women Talking. I will say that
I've seen
this...
about half.
Which ones? I can't resist. All Quiet on the Western Front. Have you heard of it?
No, I haven't heard of that one.
Never heard of the title of that book or original
Like the
movie.
I didn't read that book, no.
Or the famous other movie called All Quiet on the Western Front. You've never heard of that?
Nope.
Got it. Avatar: The Way of Water, you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it.
The Banshees of Inisherin, have you heard of it?
No.
That was one of my favorite films of the year.
Elvis, you heard of it?
Heard
Yes,
of him?
but I refuse to watch that one. Fuck that guy.
Elvis?
Can you name an Elvis song?
No,
You name
fuck him.
How about Tutti Frutti? Oh, really?
I don't like Elvis. I will never like Elvis.
Little Richard?
Yeah,
So,
I know him. The fuck? All right, go
Everything
ahead.
Everywhere All at Once.
I've heard you talk about that movie so many goddamn times, and
It's
I've
probably-
yet to watch it, but I know what it is, and I'm trying to get like a family night to watch it,
It's probably
like
gonna
with my whole
win.
fam.
Have you heard of The Fablemans?
No.
Do you know who directed it? No, never. You never heard of it. Tar.
Tar? No.
Top Gun
That was my
Maverick.
first thought. Of course, I've seen it twice.
Triangle of Sadness.
No, I don't want to be sad.
Women Talking.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, no. Do you seen that one?
You motherfucker told me that you saw half the movies on this list. You saw
Yes.
two. The
I saw
most
more than
watched
two.
movie.
I saw more than two. Well, I know.
You didn't see
about
more than two.
All right, fine.
Half
I
the
thought about
list,
one, too.
you fuck. You
I
saw
watched-
the
I
most
watched a
watched
few of
movie in
them.
the world in Avatar, and you watched Top Gun Maverick. Bravo for James.
I watched it twice. That counts as
No,
as three.
motherfucker. It does. All right, can you name the director of Top Gun Maverick?
No. Tom Cruise? I
Exactly.
don't know.
You fucking asshole.
Is it Tom Cruise? He had a hand in it.
This has been ASOS, and like Keem, I'm done with this shit. So,
Peace, y'all. Love you.
fucking, I wanted to talk about. Yeah,
Wait, no,
you
go ahead.
fucking
say it.
drooling.
Say it.
Fuck you. No, I'm done.
Talk about it.
I'm cutting the camera off. All right, bye.